Good morning. Whoa. Good morning. This is a much better camera setup than I've had previously. Uh, Hopefully, this is coming through nice and clear to everybody. I am really sorry if I clear my throat a whole bunch. We've had some really interesting air quality in Christchurch over the last week or so, between allergens and a fire. So it's just been a little special to breathe here. But good morning. I hope everyone's having a good day. Um, I have a new cardigan. Breaking news. Uh, Actually, breaking news that it's an so every time that I'm on here, it does this little reset about 30 seconds in, and I'm never sure if I've actually been live before that. So I'm just going to start all over again. And I'm sorry if this is now just babbling. Good morning. Hi. Welcome to What the Flock Live. I'm not great at remembering to pre-schedule these to warn people that I'm going live, so I'm going to have to get much better at that. Thank you for coming to watch. As always, I'm going to put this up front because many people may watch this later. If you enjoy this, please do go ahead and click that subscribe button and the little notification bell. And please do let me know if this is looking crisper and clearer because I am using, as I said, a much better camera setup today. So hopefully these lives are going to get even better over time. Now, I'm going to take some breaks in talking today to just sip some water. I did not successfully make it to caffeine this morning, but I thought about it and oh goodness, I'm obviously getting older because thought to myself, rather than being rushed trying to get back from getting coffee and then not being quite on time for the live, I should just wait and go afterwards when I have a half hour break before I open the shop. Oh boy, my older years are certainly coming with a certain sort of like just refusing to be bothered. Uh, Wisdom. Oh, good. Very clear. Excellent. Well, we will keep playing with this settings and hopefully get this to be the permanent level of clarity for everything. Now, hey, I'm working on my first sleeve of the High Street cardigan sample that I've been working on for what feels like the better part of the year. And that means that I have made good progress on Frog It or Finish It September. And that I'm starting to get pretty excited for what's coming up for Flocktober and feeling very all over the place about what I'm casting on and realizing that I failed miserably scheduling everything this week because I should have 1,000% caught up with Emily so she could tell you her final plans for casting on. And now I've ruined the plot and you're all going to have to find out afterwards. Oh boy, that's my fault. For those of you who are still following along just for the construction, because that I think it's actually started to become a thing. I think we're also a construction podcast, which is super cool. Across the road looks sketchier than before, but at least things are closed in, so I don't think we'll be able to see and hopefully hear them as much. But you never know. We'll find out. It's the weekend, so there's nothing going on over there today, which is one of the advantages of doing this on the weekend, is that there's nobody around but me. Haha, which is great. So, our two main agenda items today are obviously Frog It Finish It September and wrapping that up with all of you guys, letting you know how far I got. Now, I do feel like I did pretty well. I started off the month with a lot of whips, and I'm finishing off the month with fewer whips and a lot more finished projects. Even though I was bad and I did start one, but I started and finished it inside of the month. So I feel like that is acceptable. The only one that I think I'm not gonna get fully through that I really, like, intended to finish this month is this High Street cardigan. It is certainly has been the victim of the cardigan that I'm currently wearing. Ooh, because it definitely would have been done. But I have finished both fronts, and I am working my way through the sleeve, so, after this, only one more sleeve to go, and then post-sleeve, it's just seaming it all together. Ah. Oh, see, there we go. Now, I did a lot more frogging than finishing, I'll be honest. I frogged an entire spin cycle project, and then I frogged the back of a cardigan that I had started and never wrote down any notes about and didn't really feel like counting it because it's in dark teal and then wasn't loving the shape I was making and wasn't certain about it. So I frogged that back and I know what I'm going to do with it. It's just waiting to be washed and reskeined because I had joined all the yarn really successfully with I've just joined it really successfully with wet felting and spit splicing. So therefore, getting it apart didn't happen. So I just have one giant, giant cake of yarn. I think it's nearly 300 grams. So not super looking forward to scanning and washing that, I'll be honest. So I'm going to put that off, I think, until I absolutely need it for the project I'm working with it, which is what I'm going to be working on for Frogger Finish in September. Sorry, Frogger Finish in September for Flocktober, because I'm going to get a jump start on our next knit along, and knit up a cardigan that we're going to be recommending. So I'm going to do that definitely. I'm going to be knitting Cote by Hiroko Payne, and I'm going to do it in Cumbria worsted from the Fiber Company, which is, ooh, there's a skein of it. This yarn right here, we are not carrying it in the shop at the moment. We can absolutely order this for you if you love the look of it. This is the color Eden Valley. It comes in a 100-gram put up. There is 216 meters to the 100 grams, so it's a little bit of a light worsted weight yarn, making a perfect substitute into Cote, which was originally designed with Corey worsted from the Baname. So they're roughly the same meterage, and I think I will get a very similar fabric response out of this guy. Yeah, has great colors. All of the names are inspired by the region of England, Cumbria. So it's easy to follow along and fall in love. They reproduce this range of colors across many of their bases, including amble, which we're getting in again shortly. Good news. More Fiber Company is on the way. And Cumbria into the hills. What else to tell you about it? It is a blend of Masham, Merino, and mohair. And the mohair is blended in, so it's not a brushed mohair yarn. So it's like the Admora alpaca yarn. I keep doing this. Admora mohair yarn. Why? Like, I know them. I talk to them. I'm about to do a design in the yarn. Clearly, I'm just losing my mind. Anyway, I'm working my way through it nice and quickly. Pretty happy with it overall. Not too fussed on the outcome, which is great. Yes, Gilliat would also work really, really well for Cote. You'll get a and for Sode, you'll get a springy, bouncier version of it rather than a drapey, heavy version, which I think could be really pleasant. They're both quite cabled, and so they have very different fit requirements as well. Just as a side note, the construction method is related, but the final fit desired is not. And if you fell in love with Sode, for example, from the photos in Lina magazine, please note those were styled with an incredible amount of ease that was not intended. And so you may get a better representation of what the pattern should look like by going to look at the Ravelry pattern project photos. Something I wish had existed now, and bearing in mind there was only two projects for Selly cardigan when I started mine, but if there had been more, I would have seen the problem I was racing toward. Anyway, not the time to revisit old trauma. But yes, if you do want to knit either Sode or Cote, you can absolutely do them in Gilliat. They will be beautiful in those yarns, and I would be thrilled to help you pick out a color. Bold works really well. Subtle is incredible. They're both kind of yarn monsters, but they're both super possible to knit inside of a month if you're looking to take on a more robust challenge and you're not a summer yarn knitter. I'm not a summer yarn knitter. I've just resolved myself to who I am, and I wanted to knit something cabled, and I wanted to knit something up with someone else's pattern for the whole month because I've been knitting a lot of my own patterns, and honestly, knitting all the time to your own instructions, even when you're trying to work out how to do something like on this cardigan, is really tiring. So, whew. So I am chipping away at the sleeve here. Sorry, this is a very boring sleeve to knit in front of people because it is, and I will also warn you that this is going to be what I'm working on until I start anything else because I am so close to it being finished and I just want it done now. So I might even take a little bit of time to start in on my Flocktober project. Now, What are the rest of you planning on for Flocktober? Does anybody have any ideas? So, as I said, I'm going to be knitting something from a European designer in a European yarn, double win. And yes, I know technically Britain isn't part of Europe, but we're being generous here. Let's not blame the yarn for the fact that they Brexited, okay? Um, I do think we have some banging options in store for pretty much anything, just as an option. And my plans, oh, I'm also doing the mystery knit along. Now, I'm doing the mystery knit along, and at the same time, I'm working on something else in the background for November. So the mystery knit along will play into what's going to happen in November, and I think you guys are really going to love it. So it might be worth it to. I know it's last minute. If you haven't committed yet and you're thinking about doing it, do consider jumping in on the mystery knit along. I'm cautiously optimistic that it's going to be really fun and go really well. Stephen does a lot of his best work under constraints. Just two colors is a pretty heavy constraint for him. And overall, he has quite a good track record with two color shawls. I have to give him credit for this. Uh, there have there are always going to be in someone's evolution as a designer some interesting entries. Yeah, and then there's the like additional mystery shawl Marled Magic, which we all forget about because he didn't do it at the same time of year. I always forget about it. Um, okay. Awesome. So Janet is doubling down. So she is casting on with Antigone or Antigone, and she is going to be ripping into a French pattern, which I can't quite read. Oread, and it's going to be an interesting knit. Yeah. Ooh. Mary is going for a Tolsta tee. So the Tolsta tee is by Rebecca Clow. She is a Scottish designer, and again, we're being generous with Europeans, so that one definitely counts as well. Um, and do you mind explaining Flocktober? I know you said before, I forgot info on me. Yes, no problem. Here, I'm going to move closer to the camera because it turns out there's still depth of field available. So let's try that. Step one. Oh, God. Can you tell that I'm usually the talent and not the tech anymore? Like, whew, I really do need somebody to like do all of this for me. I'm very not great at it, but here we are nonetheless. So, Flocktober is our annual month-long knit along, and I like themes. And so we used to do categories, and I've decided the categories are kind of restrictive. So I'm going for more thematic knit alongs now, which might sound crazy, but it is my overall concept. And so thematic knit alongs, I think, invite everybody to be able to play because it gives you a lot of breadth. So this year, the Flocktober theme is European summer. And in the European summer theme, we have decided to go with bringing in a collection of European yarns that are made for summer. So Luma from the Fiber Company, Trio 2 from Essayer, Merci from Filcolana, and Antigone, Antigone or Antigone from the beautiful people at Durarum. And at the same time, basically what we're going to be inviting everybody to do is to participate by knitting any pattern from either from a European designer or any pattern in a European yarn, or to double down and get two possible entries, a European designer in a European yarn. And the summer theme is just to really promote the yarns. And you also get an automatic buy if you use any of the four yarns that we brought in specifically for summer. So it gives you a big thing, a big way to play. And the only rules are you have to use yarn from a brand that we sell at the shop. Doesn't necessarily have to be purchased here, but it has to be from a brand that we actively sell at the shop currently. And the only other rule is to start on the 1st and finish on the 31st or before and send us a picture. That's it. And like, I don't need any sort of like proof of life of the day that you started or day that you ended or anything like that. I'm so sorry. Just go ahead and have fun. The goal here is fun. And rules help, but too many rules stifle fun, I think. Ooh, Moray coming in with a red shift, putting those two color work skills to work, and the steeking. And Ulysses, that's going to be great. Di is making a Rigmore tea and Luma by the Fiber Company. And Charmian is doing Aranca by Audrey Borrego in Trio 2. Yes, I hope I influenced that decision. Oh, also by Audrey Borrego. Awesome. So I found Audrey Borrego the other day. I went on a hunt for patterns in Durarrum yarns, and she had done a bunch. So I thought she would be a really great resource for everybody. So I wanted to introduce her to you. Now, does anyone have any other questions? This might end up being a shorter live today. As we can all tell, I'm having a little bit of breathing difficulties. Ooh, I might need to take my inhaler. Yikes. So, boring sleep again. I know. Yes, excellent. So I really do like hunting around to find designers that don't seem to be on our needles at the moment. And there's a lot of great people who are super well known, but sometimes just seem to slip through the cracks still. Um, like Audrey Borrego, who it turns out has a great pattern library and some really cool stuff, especially if you're into seamless construction. And she seems to be really thoughtful about how she approaches design, and a lot of it's really cute, I thought. Um, Personally, I'm obviously really into my friend Hiroko's patterns. Well, full disclosure. And I'm really looking forward to jumping into knitting something like that. There's also other people to think about, like Vera Valimaki, who has a huge shawl collection and other stuff. We might also have some very exciting news on the shawl yarn front very shortly. I'll share it with you as soon as we get going. And I'm really excited about a lot of what we have planned and coming up, which is really good. So we have two big things for sure planned, and then hopefully one more. We'll see and find out. I will keep you posted as things firm up. How's that for a statement? So not just Flocktober to look forward to, but lots of other great things, including restocks and other things. And ooh, some, not all, and I don't think most of the ones that people are going to be really excited about, but some of the redesign project pre-orders are beginning to come in and get cleared. And we are having some stock left over that is just available for sale. So if you missed out on any of the pre-orders, do keep your eyes open on the redesign project section of the website, because there are lots of things sitting there and they do really enhance your knitting life. I'm using 3 currently. I have a Project 32 that I have spare yarn stuffed into and put into the backpack. Then I have my Project 10 with my current project yarn and my next project yarn sitting in it and pieces of my project. I also have my, so we do have some of these available. I have my giant needle case, my Project 14, chilling out because I use this thing constantly. Yeah, I thought that was really thoughtful too, Janet. I had noticed that about some of her patterns. So I thought she just was a great, great designer, really thinking things through, which I super appreciated. Hi, Carol. How are you? And yeah, so I am just sitting here knitting away. Oh boy. If you guys have any questions or want to see anything or want me to talk about anything, oh, yes. Project 14 needle cases and Project 9 bags are on the way. There we go. So they're beginning to come in. If you did miss out on anything, do keep your eyes peeled. The extras will all go up. You may also notice that floating around on the website, there are some things at a steep discount. We continue to need the physical space. So there is some hedgehog fiber merino Aran at a pretty steep discount and some Menos del Uruguay Alegria Grande. It's a lovely yarn, both of them. The colors, especially on the Alegria Grande, are really beautiful. It's just that it takes up a lot of space and we have a lot of new stuff to bring to you and we need to move it. Ooh. So if you want to help us out and get yourself a good deal, jump in on the sale page and grab anything there, because genuinely we're selling it to make room. Ta-da! Oh boy. And the Allegria Grande is beautiful because it is machine washable and a worsted weight and hand dyed. And again, it's part of that Menos de Uruguay family. And even though you're getting it at a discount, they got paid the full price for it, which means that still the value of helping out those beautiful women's collectives throughout Uruguay is there. Oh, yes. And there is a last color of Fino available too. So get that. We're just going in a direction that's a little easier to source consistently. So you'll have to be patient with us if we're dropping a lot of hints and teasing over the next little bit. We are getting ready to bring you two new things, which is, well, more than two new things, but two new brands that we're going to be working with. And we will start talking about them a little bit more as we get closer, just so that we can keep the focus on what we're doing right now. And of course, because European summer is amongst it, and I think you're going to be really excited about what's to come. Hopefully, hopefully as excited as I am. Well, all right, everybody. So one final little round of updates. So if you do want to get yourself a Project 14 needle case, we do have 3 of them in black still in stock. Ta-da! They are beautiful. They are functional. I use mine every day. Reminder, these are the ones where you can fit 2 full sets of interchangeables inside of them. They open up and they have spots for all of your cables and all of your fixed needles. If you're like me and you use a mixture of cabled and fixed needles, ta-da! Yeah, I know. Shorts on one side, longs on the other, 2 full sets. I've got 2 of them. One for metal, one for wood. You might need the same thing in your life, or you might just need one. But trust me, you need one of them. They're great. All right. That being said, I'm going to run. So for me, personally, for this year, for Flocktober, I'm going to be banging out a favorite pattern of mine, not just because I worked on it, Cote by Hiroko Paint. I'm going to be doing it, as I said, in Cumbria worsted, which we can absolutely order in for anybody who wants it at any point. It's a beautiful yarn with a great blend of fibers in it, like all the Fiberco products. I have finished this cardigan, and I am going to get started on, oh, before I leave you, I should tell you how I fixed a problem. I promised I would. Yikes. So I did finish this cardigan, and I am super happy with it. I think the fit overall is really great. I like how the shawl collar is sitting. The back, I think, is pretty dramatic when you see it at a distance or up close. Overall, the color work tension is fine. It's not my greatest work if I'm being quite self-critical, but it's been a while. Large yarn, big needles in the round, large concept, not really something I've been doing lately. So that was an experience. I did steek all of the parts with people from the class, which I think was a really informative way to teach steeking. I also should warn you that the shoulder shaping is done with short rows, and you do the short rows in the color work pattern. And then you just resolve it with white on both sides, and you don't notice. So don't worry about it. You resolve it with your background color. Before you seam it. Now, here's the thing. As I ripped through this, I did not make a math error. I did the math correctly. I made a literal physical counting error when I counted the stitches on the needle. And I didn't have enough stitches because I counted the steek stitches instead of excluding the steek stitches from the total. And so therefore, I was short a whole bunch of stitches. When I set the sleeve in, it looked really ridiculous and was pulling it in ridiculously, and nothing was good about the fit. And I haven't steamed this out yet to set the gauge, so that's why it is a little tight. But what I ended up doing, as you can see here, is I actually made a panel, and I increased at roughly the same ratio as the sleeve until I hit the total number of stitches, thereby preserving the angle of the sleeve and just making it a little bit more comfortable and set in a little bit easier. You will notice that you don't have to precisely align the repeats or anything. I did intentionally end at a half repeat on the sleeve in the same, I started a half repeat on the body because I think it, and at the cuff of the sleeve. I think that ending and beginning helps with the crispness. You can't control that as much at the shoulders, obviously, but you also, because of the nature of this pattern, it's quite visually overwhelming. You don't notice that the color work doesn't line up at the shoulders. It's too arresting to have people do that. And also, because the front starts and ends with a half repeat, the middle back actually is a full repeat of roughly the same. So it is actually visually cohesive. It's just confusing how you get there. All right. So that's how I fixed it. I made a panel and then seamed it in afterward. After I'd already put the whole garment together, I was able to take it apart in less than 5 minutes. It took 3 hours in total to knit both panels and insert them. And I didn't have to do any frogging to solve the problem, which is the beauty of seams. It give you a margin for correcting and a selvage to work into and out of when you need to make adjustments so that you're not trapped inside of the thing that you've made and you can make it fit your body more easily. And that openness and looseness at the sleeve opening is really important, as you can see, for when I'm moving my body up and down, preserving the line of that shoulder shaping at the shoulders, short row shaping at the shoulders. And that's, I think, one of the big things that comes out of this seaming process as well is the improved structure and integrity of the garment does also set you free to do a little bit more manipulation if something isn't quite working. So there we go. Sometimes you make a mistake, and there's almost always a way to fix it. Seams give you a margin for errors. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it is a cool feature as well. I will include instructions in the pattern of how to do it this way in case people want this effect. You would still have to do this exact thing. I actually quite like it now that it's like this, and I will include how to get to the correct stitch counts also. So basically, you just change your increase ratio, but you work the same number of rows. So to make it a all over colorwork sleeve, you would increase at a greater ratio over the same number of rows, so more frequently. And the other way around, you would increase at a finer ratio. So there we go, to spread it out a little bit so that you have the space to make your insert. Because stranding across that would be a nightmare. All right, I'm gonna go. I hope you all have a wonderful day and a great week knitting. Hunt around for some joy in it. Let us know what your plans are for Flocktober. And if you have any questions, get in touch at getflockknitting@gmail.com or leave a comment below or chat to us on any of our socials and we will do our best to get back to you. We are on Instagram. You can find everything I talked about today in this podcast online on our website at getflock.co.nz. It's down below in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and I will talk to you all very soon. Okay. Oh, and you can find my patterns on Ravelry at EBE Forever. And if you buy a bunch more patterns, I will have the time to take off to actually write this pattern. Side note. Okay, great. Bye.